We're gonna see. I hope y'all drinking tea and all that good stuff for this crazy weather.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see. Okay, so I hope y'all drinking tea and all that good stuff for this crazy weather.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna see. Okay. So this is Miss Kristen joining in. Y'all gonna see me look down just briefly because I need to check something. Because I'm trying to see if what happened last time happens this time again, but if not, no biggie. Okay, and it looks like we are officially. I'm gonna cut the down just briefly because I need to check. So, good evening. Hello. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I want to give Justin his props first. He's setting the tone for a lot of young men, Justin. So thank you for being here and always making time available for us. Miss Frederica tonight, she's going to be listening and she'll chime in when she can. But she did let us know that she did invite Kwame. Of course, it was an honor having him on. Everybody knows me. I'm Letha, and we have another special guest on tonight, and she will get a chance to introduce herself. Her name is Kristen Autry. She looking at me like, but she gonna introduce herself. I've already shared with them, Kristen, that Kristen is my first cousin, and we literally lived in the same house together, and we was basically raised as sisters. But I was just so thankful when she actually chose um, she volunteered. I just sent a little information in a little family group, and it's a subject that she kind of wants to chime in on. So just to give everybody notice, we do have the chat session. As of right now, it's just the three of us participate, and we flow pretty good. We just ask for no outside sound in the background, and we're gonna jump into the hard truth about growth. And it's not as easy as it seems. I'll kind of start it just a little bit because I love hearing other people's journey and everything. It's not easy. I'm still growing. I don't think we ever get to a point to where we don't grow. I was just sharing with Justin and Frederica a second ago, asking them how their weeks was going. So, Kristen, I hope your week has been going well. And Justin was like, it's been a week. And I'm like, well, if it make you feel better, I'm teaching a class and I'm getting graded. So this has been very tenseful for me, even though I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to work with the young lady who's grading me, also work with the young lady who's coming on board. Growth is not easy. I think people think that you just wake up one day and you're just gonna be a big girl or a big boy and you're just gonna have all your stuff together. And I'm still learning. It's a challenge for me. I'm good. I'm better with forgiveness. I just got to get better with not always having a response. Sometimes listening. Um, my children, they have truly been helping me with them getting older. For me, that's been a challenge for me. I feel like I have sometimes separation anxieties when if I'm around them even for a little bit, then I have a moment I almost can't stand them. Um, I'm in a season I was sharing with my sister earlier. Well, yesterday, not today. I have a sister in Georgia, and I called her and I said, I think I got to do better because I don't know, whatever I'm going through. I feel like I need to be, I don't know, more around, your family or something. I don't know what it is. I've been emotional a lot lately. I don't know what it is. But anyway, we'll piggyback off each other. Um, Justin, talk to us about growth.
Um, it's necessary. Um,
not necessarily easy, but it's necessary. And I think it's something that we have to be intentional about. I don't think it happens by mistake. I think it is something that you have to be intentional about and that you have the choice to choose how it happens. And so yeah, I would say that you have to be intentional about it, and it is very necessary for us to do it. It's uncomfortable, and I believe it should be, and it is within the uncomfortability of growth that substantive growth actually takes place. Like you can actually learn and how to function in the new that is a part of growth. So yeah, I think it's a very necessary um part of life. Growth is.
Kristen?
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
All right, how are you?
How's everyone else?
Everyone is fine.
I'm a little shy, I'm
Yeah.
shy. So would you like my point of view of growth?
Always, yes, ma'am.
I think the harsh truth about growth is not wanting to change.
Mm,
Change is the key word. And the next key word is discipline. I feel like a lot of things that the areas that I haven't grown in, I feel like it's because I'm not disciplined in those areas.
awesome.
Like every day I get up and I say, I want to lose some weight, but I'm knowing that there's something that I'm going to have to change about myself in order to do that.
Mhm.
And I have not done so, but that's the harsh reality about change. I'm sorry, y'all. I do have children in the background that are hard-headed. Hold on one second. Oh, I'm thirsty. Get out the kitchen. Sorry.
You was not on mute. That was so funny. That was so real.
Sorry.
It's okay. Don't apologize. We don't apologize here, literally.
Professional Zoom around my children because they're hard-headed, and I told
It's
them
okay. No, we don't apologize here. We're not the polished platform. We're the what you see is what you get platform. And Justin will tell you that.
I wanted to do the meeting today because Letha has been inviting her family for months to come join her sessions. And so I was like, let me chime in on Letha's sessions because, this is something we should support one another. And that's nothing about change. Why don't we support one another?
Mm-hmm.
We have a good foundation, a good support system. Change will be easier for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my views right now on change.
Okay.
And growth.
So one question I want to throw out to everybody, and is if it gets too personal, we don't have to like address it. But something had to occur for us to want to grow. Like I mentioned, my season was my children as they got older, especially the oldest. Like I tell people, like she straight up trained me, like trained me all the way. And people that know her think it's funny, like that know her, not her family, the people that think they know her, right? And so, and then also working with my job, and then at a point I was in ministry. So those three things like kind of helped me better. But I'm on this path to where I want people to be developed on a more positive level. I do want to be, I'm a little harsh, but I'm harsh in not a condescending type manner, not in my most humble opinion. So I don't know, because it's not for me to say how Kwame or Kristen or Justin or Frederica views me. but I do want people to know that no matter what their season is and no matter what they're going through, they're not alone. And for me, I don't like when people go through stuff, but it kind of makes me feel calm when I know it ain't just me. Like it's not just me. And Kristen spoke about discipline. Discipline is hard for anybody, in my most humble opinion, because even though you know you have this struggle, you identify your struggle. Some people can't identify what the struggle is. Um, and so not to just make you feel good, Kristen, but the fact that you can still identify, you said something that you want to do. And the fact that you say it, you have already planted the seed. It just has to be watered. Um, and I'll tell anybody, surround yourselves around people that that have made that change. I started a shift last year. It was a shift that some people didn't agree with in regards to the weight. And I just gone and tell my journey, but it was wearing my body out bad. Like it was bad. It was so bad. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. It was bad. And I went on and I got on the shot. And I don't take it every day now like I used to, like I started off to, because I don't want to be dependent on that every day. But in that moment is what I needed. Like I can feel my bones popping. Um, I started having other physical things going on. Some of those things, even though I've shedded some, they probably will only be reversible with some type of surgery. But I just had to do what I had to do. Um, I think with that, I probably should not have shared what I was considering doing with people because sometimes the negativity kind of sets in and people really don't mean any harm. Um, and my suggestion to anybody, whatever the season is, whether people have money spending issues or, you know, um, whether people drink too many sodas or people have resentment issues or people have, well, resentment, I think, and unforgiveness kind of goes hand in hand. If people have self-esteem issues, I told a young lady today she's an overthinker. Like we don't have to make simple things complicated. And it's not that easy for somebody if their brain is used to operate in a certain way. But I think it's beneficial to surround ourselves. I put myself at the top of the list around people that I feel comfortable with and people that I know who have certain journeys. Like Frederica's journey is like, oh my gosh, it's just phenomenal. And she tapped in a little deep on some things a couple of weeks ago. So Justin has shared some of his journey. I'm in this I don't want to deal with stress and I don't want a job weighing me down journey because like my mom was 17 when she passed, she was 17. I took it hard. I still grieve to this day. But a lady I worked under for like 10 years, she died and it was stress that took her out of here. Like there's nothing, nobody can tell me what led to that stroke other than the fact it was stress, other than the fact that I know what was taking place when it happened and something she loved a lot. She put so much energy into the people in it and she's no longer here, just like that. So when I got to a point to where outside of what's going on with me physically, I don't have to have for me, I don't have to have a lot of stuff. I can go without it. It'll be okay. I can't worry about a bill all the time. Like my sanity matters to me because people die from heart disease and heart attacks and strokes and aneurysms caused by stress quicker than they will a bullet, quicker than they will a car wreck. So it's some things I'm still working on, but that right there, yeah, I'm still holding on to, ain't no, finna stress me out, no job finna do this, ain't nobody finna do this, I ain't gonna let nobody like mentally kill me, all this kind of stuff. But in that process, I'm learning how to help work with myself. So that's just a few things that just kind of have been helping me, and they kind of help me stay sane. Kwame, I see you're on.
Peace,
Okay,
peace, peace, peace. What's going on?
hi.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Well, all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm in the middle of working on a piece for a client and
Okay.
just listening to the conversation, soaking it in.
Okay. So if you want to chime in, fine. If not, you're cool. Okay.
Very cool.
All
Yeah.
right. So Justin and Kristen's, what are y'all's take back? Like, what is one or two, whatever y'all want to say, some things to kind of help y'all decide. Kristen addressed one of hers for sure. Justin, what are some things that may have got you to a point to where hey, I want to do it, but it's just not that easy.
Um, I guess I would say when I came to the place where I realized that my mental health had a lot to do with the way I reacted to things, and stress was definitely a massive part of it, and I watch it take a toll on my quality of life, my health. And I just kind of got to the place where I decided I'm not whatever I got to do to improve this, I'm going to do that. And so, as I put in the book, I start addressing childhood trauma. I start addressing the way I felt about like divorce, the way I felt about just life on many different things. And I started to be more kind to myself and try to understand me a lot better than I did originally. So yeah, it was one of those things where it was like if I didn't make a change, I don't think I would still be here. Either stress was gonna take me out, or I was gonna take me out as a result of the stress. And yeah, it was necessary to make those change, to accept the changes was that had to be made in order to live a better quality of life. I think our bodies and our minds tell us that things need to change, and that's why we're stressing about things sometimes. And we just have to learn to listen to our bodies, and then learn how to make the changes in a way that will allow us to live a better quality of life. At least for me, that's what it was. I got to a place where I was like, you know what? I can't keep doing this. I learned a lot about myself getting therapy, and then as I learned about myself, I learned some things that I had to change, but it required me being more honest with myself than I wanted to be. You tell yourself you're okay for 30 years, you start to believe it. But the truth is your mind and your body tell you no, you're not okay, because we can bury things, but if you bury it, it's still there. And it's not going to not be there because you don't talk about it. It's not going to not be there because you don't address it. It's just going to manifest itself in other ways until it is addressed. And so for me, it was a life or death situation. In my opinion, it was either I was, like I said, it was every day I was thinking about self harm. And I got tired of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was looking at my daughters and deciding that they deserve to have their father. So I had to fight for them. And then as I grew, I realized, you know what? I love them, but I also have to fight for me also. So, time allowed me to grow to the point where I could see value of myself. And I had to form a personal relationship with Christ. That helped a lot because then it was like not everybody else's experience, it was mine. It was what he was putting in me and the thoughts he was giving me. And so I guess life made me decide that irrespective of what had to happen, I had to outgrow that place in that season that I was in. I had to, or that would be my last season. And so I guess necessity forced me to grow.
Kristen, you have anything for Justin after that, or any of us in regards to anything that he just said?
So in the field that I work in, hold on one moment. It's like every time I get ready to talk, these kids want to talk. They ain't said nothing the whole time. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Sorry, y'all. It's loud in my house. I have 3 boys.
It's okay.
Anyway, so I was gonna share with y'all. So in the field that I work in, from a professional standpoint, I always have the urge for and to want people to grow. It's like it's a burning within me because I see the struggles that they're going through, and I have so much empathy for them, and I really want them to change and grow. For one, because let's just say, for instance, children with behaviors. I can provide them with all the resources. I can provide them with everything that they need, but it's still deep down within them to want to grow, even at a young age. So to say that it takes time, growth takes time, and also a good support system. He just said a lot of his issues. I was listening to him talk. We don't address the traumas that we have had to deal with in our lives that have caused us to get into the ruts that we're in and not be able to grow. If you are dealing with anybody that's listening, if you are dealing with traumas and you know what they are and you have not addressed them, get into counseling. Find someone that fits you, that will work with you, and in regards to those traumas. Because if you don't, they will haunt you and you won't be able to grow. And so that's a lot of what I deal with the families and children. And then when you don't address it, it becomes generational. You put those traumas and you throw them right back on your children. And it goes from one generation to the next generation to the next, because that one person or that one parent hasn't dealt with those traumas. Yes, they're hard to deal with. Yes, they're hard to address, but I always strongly encourage mental health counseling and finding someone that can suit you to help with that growth in those traumas. Now, from a personal standpoint, from me personally, I'm going through a season, since we want to share, and we get personal on these calls, and therefore to help one another, right?
Mhm.
So with me, you may think because I'm talking, I might have all my things together. I don't. My personal struggles, I'm so unorganized. So unorganized. My home life, if you saw sometimes, not all the time, I'm so junky. And I'm trying to, work with it with my children and work. It's just a struggle. So every week I say, I'm gonna change and I'm gonna grow and I'm gonna do different. But it's just life starts to hit you. You're working and school for the kids, you're doing homework, you're cooking, and trying to clean at the same time. It's like it's something that always goes lacking. So, like I said, change is hard, but it's a day-to-day thing and it's discipline. So I feel like too, growing up, Letha, you know this.
Mm.
We grew up in such a structured environment.
Mhm.
Our parents had us so disciplined.
Mhm.
We ain't talk a certain way because of them. To this day, I still don't. I don't talk a certain way in front of my mama. But if I wasn't in front of my mama, you wouldn't even think I was the same person because of my mouth. But they had us so structured and like statues, Letha.
They did.
So when I became an adult and was able to live on my own, I said, forget it. I don't know if you had this type of attitude, Letha, but I do. And I still to this day will catch myself like, wait, whoa, what am I doing? And I felt like, and I'm not saying that it was wrong what our parents did, but they had us like soldiers. And it was like every Sunday we went to church.
Mm.
And sometimes I cannot rest. So now I have the guilt of if I don't take my kids to church or if I don't go to church, the whole day it wears on me. I ain't get up to go to church. And I'm just saying it's just a part of my personal journey and my personal struggles. I know that, I'm not saying what my parents did was wrong. I'm not saying how they raised us, Letha, was wrong, but that also is a part of some of our struggles with growth. And some of mine, I'm just saying from a personal standpoint.
And not to cut you off, but our grandmother, like if our parents went at home, she came and made us do stuff. So it wasn't gonna be no regardless. It didn't matter. Like Saturday, it don't matter who was at work. You was getting up and you was getting out that bed and you was gonna make up that bed and you wasn't gonna get in that bed and you wasn't gonna touch her refrigerator if you was at her house either.
She did
She
cook breakfast for us though.
Yeah, she would cook now, and yeah, because it's just like, 1 minute you want to enforce it, then the next minute it's like this stuff too much of a headache. The next minute it's like it is what it is. And their adult children didn't talk any kind of way, and minus maybe one, but two.
Your mama.
Well, my mama,
And the other one.
yeah. And she, even though she is my cousin, she was my mama's baby.
I was.
She really was. I got a younger sister, but she's younger than her. So my aunt had her, but she was my mama's baby. She really was. So yeah, my mama had a little mouth on her. Yeah, and that other one, he still got something going on with him, but who are you counting? Hold
It was
on.
me. Maurice, your mama, and Zilla Mae.
Oh yeah, oh Zilla Mae. Oh yes, indeed. Oh yes, indeed. Oh yes. And and it's amazing how we can sit up and we can talk about it, and it's a statement I heard um my franchisee say a few years ago, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. And this was after COVID, and all this stuff with COVID or whatever, and we talking about the young people, we talking about this, we talking about that. And he was like, he made a very valid statement. He said, every generation before is always going to seem like the generation behind is more jacked up than what they were. And so when we think about it, when we came along, and that's for everybody on this call, it was not the same for our parents when we came along. When they came along, regardless, it wasn't the same for their parents. Our children coming along, it's not the same. I'm listening to how school teachers have to teach now. I've only been with the company I've been with 13 years. It's like we was taught to suck it up. It's like, no, people's feelings need to be considered. So this is what you have to do. You can't say this. Like literally yesterday, the trainer say, I was working with a young lady. The trainer say, hold on, Letha. Well, not the trainer. I'm the trainer. But my trainer, my AD that was grading me, she say, where's your comb? She said, go get your comb and give her comb back. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't snatch it out the young lady's hand. I just asked to use a comb to show her something. And she said, you never take a stylist comb. And in that moment, I immediately kind of like, I was like, well, I never knew. Because ain't nobody never told me this. This new. And I found myself getting frustrated because I'm like, I'm tired of this stuff changing, right? And it's like, I can remember somebody taking my comb. So, I didn't snatch it. I didn't say anything crazy. Then I went to show her something on her mannequin. Hold a minute. You can't do that. So one-on-one, after the class was over, she kind of let me know about how we have to be conscientious about things and we have to be conscientious about that. And I'm like, okay, no problem. What I'm saying to myself, my kids was here when I started this job. It's been less than 20 years, and really like the world has shifted that quick in that short a time span. Like if an elementary kid, per one of my elementary school teachers, if you tell them to sit down on the carpet, and if little Ray Ray or little Susie decide they don't want to sit and they want a chair, they have to be allowed to sit in a chair. And it's kind of like, and then listening to you though, Kristen, it's like he, Justin has made statements, Frederica has made statements, but then you're working in this area, and it's like, is this necessary? Because we don't want to inflict other things on people, because I'm learning people really carry stuff with them daily. More, I'm realizing this in the past so many years. People really can be just going through something, and you could do the smallest thing that you think that I think is small and trigger somebody. Like that girl popped her eyelashes off yesterday. She had to be crying. She plucked them eyelashes off. She was over it. She had a moment and she was doing good, and it's like, she was like, it ain't Miss Letha. So I felt good to know it wasn't on me, but I'm like, she pulled her eyelashes off. And I'm saying, girl, but she not a girl because she like 30. And I want to be somebody that could help with that. But then all of y'all are reminding me I'm not a therapist either. So, it is nothing wrong with I can appreciate 3 people now officially on this call has encouraged professional therapy. Kristen, Frederica, Justin. And Black folks used to ain't talk about no therapy. Therapy would shut it up and keep it going.
it's most definitely a stigma for the African American community not to seek therapy. It's also a stigma not to be on medication when needed. You know, I know that medication is something that you do have to be cautious of. Even though me working in the field, I'm still kind of cautious of all the medications that they put on children. However, it's a requirement because you can't go out here acting a certain way in society and feel like it's okay. It's not. So we most definitely need to check in our communities. We need to talk about it more, especially in the African American community. We need to talk about it more about our mental health and getting help.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that has to be destigmatized because I think like for me, as I looked into it, I often tell people like if you look at all of the most well-known serial killers in America, all of them had unaddressed trauma. All of them had unaddressed emotional issues. And I wonder, like, had that person been able to be a part of an environment that encouraged that, could that have been avoided? You know what I'm saying? So I think we should look at like the history of not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, can somebody live a life without it that people consider good? Yeah, we was always told to keep pushing. And I would even go so far as to say that that should be a part of the healing journey, to keep pushing mentality. But the reality is, you know, the heart diseases and diabetes and different things like that in our community, all of that stuff could be tied to stress. And you never and how much of that would go away if we were to actually address the stress instead of trying to be stronger than the stress? Nobody beats it. Nobody beats it. Everybody loses to it eventually. You know what I'm saying? And you find when we do get relatives that live to see 80 and 90 years old, they're usually not the ones who carried a bunch of stress. You know, especially if they're 80, 90 years old, still walking and functioning on their own. They kind of just get to a place where they're like, you know what, I'm everybody, everything I've known and everything I've experienced growing up is no longer here. You know what I'm saying? They get to decide to get out of here peaceably. But I definitely feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had, and you gotta in a safe space has to be created so that people can say exactly what those things are that stress them. Um, it just kind of has to happen. If it doesn't happen, we're gonna continue getting the same results that we're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like that part has to go away. Like one of the things that I feel that this is an area of growth for me, but with raising my daughters, um, I'm trying something different. I'm trying to let my kids speak freely. That wasn't the way I was raised. It was like, yo, you stay in your place. But I want my kids to speak freely because I realize that the kids that we in our community always talk about that has less melanated skin, that talk back to their parents, usually grow up and get into careers and they're not afraid to go after what they want because they don't mind challenging authority. And authority should be challenged sometimes. Authority should have to prove itself. Irrespective of what it is. Like, yes, you are the person that have been chosen to be in this position of authority. That don't make everything you do right. Authority should seek to grow, and authority can grow by being challenged. And when I say challenge, I'm not necessarily saying, to buck up. I'm saying allow me to ask questions, allow me to get information. Don't be intimidated by my abilities, use my abilities. And if you see me to be a person that can benefit the overall, and as a leader, a leader's job is always to benefit the overall. That's why you're leading, to help the overall. If you see somebody who could be a benefit to it, then cultivate that so that when you are no longer in a place where you can do it, you have somebody that you can trust to do it. And so obviously I'm not gonna, I'm still a Southerner, so I ain't gonna let my kids get too crazy, but I definitely allow them to speak freely. Like, hey, speak your mind. If I say something you think I said it too harsh or my tone is too much, I don't care what they did. Let me know so that I know how to help, because we're teaching at every point. We're teaching the youth. And so I think about, as a young man, a lot of the decisions that I made because I couldn't talk to authority, because I'm out of place. Okay, I'll wait, I'll get from around you, and then I'm gonna go wild out because I couldn't just have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that, like I said, the therapy is something that for me has become something that I am wholeheartedly standing up for. I'm standing up for it even within the context of the church, because I think that in many ways, organizational church, not body of Christ, but organizational church, uh, hasn't promoted it the way it should promote it. And I think that's an area of growth for us in the body of Christ to, hey, if you got somebody in your church that's talking to themselves, pray that the therapist can help them. Don't just lay hands on them and let them go continue talking to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Let's do things to improve the mental health space of the community overall. And I think you'll get better quality of people. You'll get better quality of life for the people. And these are things that I think we as a community have to push these things and move the needle forward in that area.
Is it a possibility? And I'm just asking. I don't know if I want to raise a question or make a statement. It appears to be, because I'm working on how I say things. That's part of my growth too. I'm working on how I say things. It appears to be that um some things have been, I struggle with discipline. I struggle with lack of discipline with these young people. One thing that has been proven to be a fact that was not the best thing from an educational standpoint was No Child Left Behind. I agree that it needs to be advocated for. I truly agree with that wholeheartedly. But it also appears to be that when things that work, people decide they don't want to do it no more. And people come in and say, well, this is what we're going to do. Because we know people have always had mental health problems. And I know social media and all this stuff, it shares more. But even without social media, it's appearing to be more people are having more mental health problems, more and more. What's wrong with telling somebody no? I've literally seen people, for instance, if the signs say don't play in the chairs, and Kristen bring her boys in there, even if she step outside for a hot second, and somebody had to say something to them about them playing in them chairs, she's not gonna get crazy. People a lot of adults don't want discipline for these children. And discipline don't mean beat them, but it's structure. Like if the teacher tell you to sit on the carpet, why does it have to change to if you want to sit in a chair? Why you get to sit in the chair and everybody else is being obedient and sit on the carpet? And it's appearing to be that things have been put in place that's causing more mental duress, and it's starting with lack of discipline and lack of structure. That's just my personal opinion. I do think your children need to be able to talk to you. I do think it's okay to challenge authority, but I also think no should mean no. So if I say no, I don't need nobody asking me why.
I mean, I agree with that to I agree with that to I mean, given the situation you're talking about, if you tell everybody to sit on the floor, then sit on the floor. Like I'm certain that there's a line to be drawn. I think that leadership and being a tyrant is two different things, and the lines get blurred sometimes. But it definitely has to be a place where you, as a parent, when you tell your child to do something, that ain't up for debate. That's not a, you know what I'm saying. And there are times where, because I understand, I strive to understand the world my daughter's living, I tell them no without any explanation, because they need to understand that that's going to happen too. You know what I'm saying? As an adult, you have the option to accept that and continue doing what you are instructed to do, or walk away and not do it. That's going to be an option as an adult. But as a child, sometimes you just gonna have to take the word of the parent, and you're gonna have to do what you're told to do. Now, I guess what I would say is I'm old enough to have grown up in that time where whatever adult said, whichever adult it was, you had to do it. But I think I know that there were times in my life where adults mishandled me, but because it was an adult, they told my parents. My parents acted like parents did back in those days.
You got to whip
You know,
them.
yeah, a lot of them, a lot of them. Um, some of them I deserve, but I think I might still have one or two on credit. You know what I'm saying? That they put it on because it was, what somebody said. And that's what that's for me, I'm just like, I ain't gonna trust it just because an adult said it, and especially if it's an adult that I know, move like that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that it's growing in the right direction to start my daughters off to where they are willing to ask the questions that they have, and they are willing to, you know, learn submission, but understand that you can submit to a leader, not a tyrant. A tyrant gonna run your life in the ground. And I want them to know the difference, because they are young Black women. They are gonna grow up. If they get married, it'll likely be some Black guys that they marry. And I don't want to have to be around for them to know when they're being mistreated and when they're not. And I don't want the phone call, because I'm going to cut up. I'm going to make a bad decision. I've already made the bad decision. If my daughter called me with something that somebody done did something to them out of the way, I already made the bad decision. So I'd rather teach them how to navigate that in as much as I can now, so that I don't have to make the bad decision. And so I think that, you know, certain things are no questions asked, do what you're told to do. You know what I'm saying? I understand that life has consequences. And I don't think that a lot of our young people uh acknowledge those consequences anymore because they get whatever they want. They don't have to. I see a lot of young people that don't have to work for nothing. Like the first pair of name brand shoes I ever wore, I bought. You know what I'm saying? My mom said you're gonna have some on your feet, and that's what I'm gonna be responsible for. But if you think I'm gonna spend $150 on some shoes for you to walk on the ground with, no, you can earn it. And so I think that we definitely have to do better about facilitating our children's growth and making sure that they understand that if you function in discipline and you work and you save your money and you do the things that um it takes to be able to have, you can have, but you're not going to have just merely based on the fact that you want something. You gotta do what it takes to have it. You know what I'm saying? So like I think, I said the generation I'm a part of is like we had to work for it. I was 13, 14 years old, cutting grass and pressure washing driveways and painting houses. You know what I'm saying? Like that was normal. Now, 17, 18 years old, sitting in the house playing the game all day. Like for the life of me, that makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? Like you're waiting at 16 years, you're waiting for your mother to buy you some Jordans. You don't get your butt up off that game and go cut somebody's grass. Especially now, because at the time you cut a yard for $20, the people will pay $100 for you to cut their yard now.
Yeah.
That's 2.5 yards, and you can wear all the Jordans you want to wear. But again, I think that's like you said in the school system. Like if a kid wants to sit in a chair, you let them. I don't think that's discipline. You know what I'm saying? I think that's teaching a child not to be disciplined.
Mhm.
So that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, that's my concern. Kristen, any take back about ways to, I know you mentioned about the therapy, and thank you for sharing some things that you need to work on. But in regards to adults, us adults, to try to be more beneficial adults for ourselves, for younger people, for peers, people that may be our age. I don't know, like any other takebacks from that or from what me and Justin just had a little tidbit about.
Yeah, so back to discipline, of course, like I'm from the old school as well. I might be younger than you guys, but
Mhm.
um I believe in discipline as far as kids are concerned. But there's a lot now tying into, like you said, no child left behind kind of brought about a lot of change in the classroom because of inclusion. So now you have a lot of kids that the teacher may not have told you this, but a lot of kids that are in the classroom have disabilities.
Mhm.
So, you know, the accommodations are different. Um, and like you said, it's funny that we're talking about this because I had a child just the other day that got written up, actually suspended because she didn't want to do carpet time. So I did have to kind of come to her defense. It's an issue there, you know. She's not just cutting up just because she doesn't want to do it. The environment that she came from, she's overstimulated, and it's an issue there. So, with the No Child Left Behind, the teachers that it put more on the teachers, and not enough support. But that's just from what you kind of about what you were saying. That doesn't kind of touch on why the kids are not being disciplined. Like Justin said, um, we do need to hear the kids out a little bit more. Now, from a personal standpoint, my kids, my children, I always say, I always ask them what's going on. Why are you acting this way? Did I ask you? And then out of nowhere, I would scream at them. I would scream at them, and your auntie has told me to stop. Then I would tell her, Mama, didn't I ask these kids this amount of time before I actually got into their tail? I asked them what was going on with them. I asked them, I asked them 2 or 3 times. I don't feel like you should have to do that, but that is how I'm raising them, and I'm also raising them to be able to communicate to me the issues and problems. But like you said, there is an issue in our society with this. Us as adults are I see adults all the time just acting way out of line. Way out of line. Another thing that Justin talked about, the traumas from childhood. Anybody out there listening that's dealing with trauma, go back and read the ACE study. The ACE study is it's called, you can type in ACE study for trauma. It's ACE, but it's a good read, and you can find it. You just Google it, but it's the real name for it is adverse childhood experiences. And like he said, those traumas, this study shows there is research out there. If you do not deal with those traumas from your childhood, they will kill you. A lot of people die from cancer. The study showed a lot of people having high blood pressure, being overly stimulated, like just crazy health issues, because of the stress and trauma that they had to deal with as a child. So that research is out there, and just go read about it. That right there will help you to know and to deal with and get help for the traumas that you've had to deal with. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Justin really hit on a lot of things that, was factual and true.
I appreciate you sharing it, because I'm out here looking it up. So it's adverse. What is it? Adverse
childhood experiences.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, because I'm going to literally.
I mean, there are YouTube videos out there about it. I mean, as soon as you Google it, it just comes up, and you can start reading about the different
Okay.
the different research that has been done to prove how trauma has added stress and different illnesses to people because it was not addressed.
And the crazy part about it, the Adverse Childhood Experience Recovery Workbook is on Amazon. The audio book for $0. I'm assuming if you got Prime. For Kindle, no, the audio book is free. So I'm gonna check this out. I'm literally sitting up here pulling it up now. So so I do thank you for sharing it, because never heard of it. And that's what this is for, just so we can do something to try to help anybody or somebody, even if it's helping us right here, on the call, because we all do have different insights. I think we all got very good insights, even though they may be different. But I do think it is important to also hear and share other people's insights because it's not it's we could learn something from each other. And
Yeah.
and I think it's very important to listen in and take in. I got one, he's 20 and he tested gifted. He's very smart. He my youngest. I could be talking to Maurice and he be like, I don't understand. I'm like, I've been your mama 20 years. How you don't understand? Like, I can't comprehend. I don't understand when I keep saying the same thing. Then he said something to me one day and he said, well, I'm not being funny. He said, but yes, a boss. That's how he ended that conversation. Yes, a boss. Yes, a massa. Yes, a boss. That's how he ended the conversation. And I'm like, he was like, I don't understand, but never mind. And it's like, I don't know how to tap into your level of not understanding though, because to me it's plain and simple, right? To me, it's plain and simple. And he just ended with like, yes, a boss.
I would
You
say,
know, I
I would
want to
say,
throw a brick. I'm not gonna tell a tale because Kristen know how huge he is. It ain't gonna hurt him. He's huge.
Like, don't hit that boy with no brick.
I would say that would probably be a good space to encourage him to get into therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you'd be surprised how I was watching Dr. Gabor. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but he's a doctor. He talks a lot about mental health, and he was talking about how people can be raised in the same house and have vastly different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And then there, I know for me as a young man, as you can read in the book, I had that experience of SA that I did not talk about for 35 years of my life. I'll be 41 this month. But for the first 35 years of my life, or I guess I would say 28 years, I just I didn't tell anybody. I just had the experience, but it manifested itself. I've read the book that Christian is talking about, and it kind of just was like, wow, like this is, and that's why I say you can bury it, but it's still going to manifest itself. So when you're dealing with somebody who uh is otherwise gifted, but then turns around and doesn't have seems to not have a lack of comprehension, that can be a sign of something traumatic that has happened that they need to be able to talk about. They need to be able to get that stuff off of them. And legitimately, there could have been an interruption in the way they process things at some point in life. And right there, anytime you go right there, it does not process. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, I guess I would say like that would be one of the things where I battle, I battle a lot of fear in my life. And I said, you know what? Like I want to get into therapy and understand. And when I understood the correlation between being SA at such a young age and then holding on to it for 28 years of my life, I still got to work through that. You know what I'm saying? And like it seems like you know, now that you know what it is, you can get over it. But it's just honestly not how it works. And like you said, with our young people today, the internet has intensified things for them. You know, like when we were in school, you get bullied in school, and then you go home and you got relief from it. But if they're on social media, they would be bullied in school, and then they'll take it to social media and still be doing it. So there's just and that's why I say we have to create it. It is, to me, it is so necessary for us to create a space where our young people can have these conversations because um I would say a part of the reason that I held on to what I held on to for so long was you couldn't talk back to adults. You didn't think anybody would believe you. I didn't think anybody that would believe me. And it would be a challenge to authority. You know what I'm saying? It could make somebody in a high position look bad because it happened. It happened in a church arena. I'll say that, not in a sanctuary, but there's correlation between what happened in the church, and you definitely can't say nothing that would make it look like something happened that didn't wasn't supposed to happen. So you know what I'm saying? That's why I say we have to create that space because like when someone that had my book, they when they read that piece about that, they cried and hurt for me. And we talked and I, assured them I'm doing better now, I'm in therapy and everything like that. But shortly after that, in our own home, uh, a child had a little bit too much to drink and admitted that it happened to them. You know what I'm saying? And she wanted blood. And she thought about me and she called me and I was able to talk off the ledge. But it's like, if don't nobody talk about it, how you gonna be prepared for that? Imagine that happening. And we can't act like it don't happen. It does happen. And people are affected by it long term. There's long-term effects. But if we continue this culture of don't say nothing, you're just gonna have people that, oh man, he crazy, she doing this, he doing that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes what we call promiscuity is childhood trauma manifesting itself. So that's why I advocate for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I do not want my daughters to have an experience like that and not feel like they can talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't fault my mother or my father because that was the culture we grew up in. You don't say nothing. You be quiet. And like I said, it wasn't until I was just like, I can't I have to save my own life because I took it to the chain of command, and the chain of command just prayed about it. And that was it. But if you say something, you gotta point out some other people on the chain. And so I don't want that for my daughters. You know what I'm saying? If letting them feel free to speak their mind
Mhm.
will save them from that,
Mhm.
then I'll redefine what respect is so that they can be free to feel safe. Because I don't want them to be in an environment where something like that happens and they feel like they need to be quiet. No,
Yeah.
no, because I know what it did to me for years of my life. I know how it affects me even today. I'm grateful to God for therapy because now I know how to process it a lot better than I did. But you know what I'm saying? Like there was a time in my life where I was told I was going to be dead or in jail by the time I was 15. It was behavioral, and I was behaving that way. I won't say I deserve to. I understand why people said it, but nobody ever said, well, why is he like that? Because that wasn't a question we asked. But now that we have the amount of Black people in our communities that have the information that can help, like I really feel like there's no excuse why we shouldn't be doing things to get the help. Because again, I understand telling the kid, like when she said the kid got put out of the school, but she had to advocate for the kid because why does this kid not want to sit on the floor? You know what I'm saying? There may be a reason for that people didn't are not considering because it just assumed that kids don't really experience nothing, but it's some hellish adults out here.
Or we assume, because I put myself at the top of the list, is behavioral and
Right,
behavioral alone and not trauma.
right.
Um, I think that sometimes that's why I say I'm working on how I say things also in this season for me. I do my best and I'm nowhere near 100%. I went from about a 0. I probably give myself about a 65 or 70% right now. But I do try to be conscientious in making suggestions or, hey, in my opinion, because my opinions are not facts. Reminding myself that how I feel is my feeling. My feelings are not factual. They're my feelings, in those moments. And like I say, even with my son, I ain't gonna tell no tale now that, and when he hit me with that yellow mouse, that kind of did something to me, you know. I laughed about it, but it took me about 24 hours to kind of laugh about that. Uh, yeah, he was like, "Oh, Toby gonna be a good yeah." Oh, he was quoting Roots, straight up
Mm.
quoting the movie to me. You can believe that, and he was to me, but like a few days later, or whatever, when we eventually, spoke, coming from how this particular young adult is, it no matter what it appears to be, it's not intentional. It's truly not intentional. He is who he is. He's not intentional. But then, his thing basically was, um, I don't let people speak. And so, I try to work on that and was trying before then. But however, for me, that's part of my growth. It's just listening when I don't want to listen. Um, Even if it's something I don't agree with. Um, Try not to interject and trying to let people get out what they have to say, even if I feel like, even if it's something that I may not want to listen to in that moment. And that goes back to it's just not easy. Growth is truly not easy. It's an ongoing process. But I'm a firm believer. How can I help the next person if I'm not trying to work on myself? I can't do nothing for nobody I can't do for myself. I can't help nobody if I can't help myself. Um, and I've realized, and I'm working on implementing, those more, those better gestures, with listening and with not trying to make some things more complicated than what they need to be. And it with you all being on here, I've had some therapy. I suggested it to a few people, and it's not a bad thing. It's truly not. It is it's worth the experience, and I don't think we could put a cost on our health. Um, I learned over. Let me see, what year is this? 2025. I learned 17 years ago what stress could do to your body. Stress could flare up sinuses. People could get cavities from stress. I learned these type of things because what Krista was talking about, the medication and stuff, I've been on depression medication for years. Now, do I take it every day? No, I don't. Well, I don't take it every day because it's just, it will become too much at times. Um, but at first, it was much needed. Then they would increase and increase. Then sometimes depending on my level of frustration, I couldn't, if I got too frustrated, I had like a panic attack or anxiety attack. I didn't know how to bring myself down. But with meditation and with prayer and with some therapy. And I meditate every night. I listen to either jazz or the rain waters. Every now and then I go to sleep with with scripture playing. I started off listening to Joseph Stevenson. His guided meditation was just phenomenal. It just puts you in a good deep sleep without appeal, and I do think those things are very important. And I've realized, how can I help you and I can't help me? So I need to be the change I want to see. And our children are in another world. And regardless of whether we like it or love it, it's here. It just appears to be, it happened a few times and we all young. Like nobody on this call is 60 years old unless they chiming in on YouTube, but like we haven't even, I mean, nobody here I think I'm probably older than everybody and I'm 47. And it's like part of growth is realizing that just because that may have worked for me when I was coming up, don't mean that they may work for my children. And what works for one child most definitely does not work for the other. It just doesn't. Um, yeah, I think it's important to self-reflect and don't be too hard on self and work on. I tell people, look in the mirror and outside of working on your dilemmas and trauma, for me, that's okay. But be okay with living life. Like, we here for a good time and not a long time. Because we know not the day nor the hour. I heard somebody's voice yesterday. I have not heard. It just felt good to talk to him. Because he's almost like a younger brother from another mother, and he got diagnosed with something just recently. And he's young. I mean, he's young. He may be 30, maybe 31, no older than 32. And it went south for a minute, And I can remember when I went to see him, it caught me off guard because he was like, Letha, can you pray for me? And then in that moment, I felt like I had to because I know what I saw. Like I literally saw a young lady like go before me in my face, you know? And we have lost people to cancer in our family. So that stuff kind of hits home when you see people who are so young go through so many things. And it's like, I got to get a handle on my own self. I got to get a handle on my own health. You know, after me and my son had that wreck the other year, it was to try to not give to TMI, but it was a struggle for me to wipe my behind. And then I got so used to that mentally it was instead of becoming a struggle. So I'm taking one arm, pushing the other arm. I ended up gaining 60 pounds in like 2 years. 2 years I put on 60 pounds. Literally. And now I don't but one type of shoe I almost work on my feet. So I think that it's very important. And I think that everything that Kristen said and everything that you said are some things that a lot of people can relate to. Um, yeah. So, Justin, you got any tidbits? Kristen, you got any tidbits? We're gonna close off. I don't think Frederica wanted to join in, but I think something kind of came up with her. And we do want to be conscientious of you, Justin, because you are an hour ahead of our time. So, any minute, mighty mo. Who's gonna close us out the door? Kristen maybe, or Justin for sure. If he don't do it, let me know. Justin is pointing at Kristen to do. So the only thing
That's
you
an
do, only thing you do, you give your last little insight and tell us good night, and I hit the end button, and that's it. Look how she looking.
I want to say thank you, Letha, for letting me join you all.
You're welcome.
I
Thank
want
you for being here. It's a very special moment, so I thank you.
to say it was a great talk.
Okay.
Let's talk. I want to say that these types of talk are very encouraging.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like us as a race, we're growing because we're able to have these talks. Also, Letha, let's just say we all can take something from this.
Mm-hmm.
And let's grow together.
Yes. And before you say bye, Miss Frederica finally tuned in. So she finally made it. We know she got a lot going on, so she be helping her sister out too. So
I'm
Frederica, this is
sorry, y'all.
Kristen is Frederica.
Nice to meet you, Kristen. I apologize for my tardiness. Look, it started raining as soon as I was getting ready to chime in, so I'm a little damp right now.
It's okay.
But I agree with everything that everyone has been saying. Um, Therapy has definitely helped. When Kristen started talking about the trauma, I was just like, ooh, she done touched a special spot in my soul. Because that's what I'm working on in my therapy sessions right now is dealing with trauma from my childhood, past relationships, just working through that so that not only can I be a better person and be a better woman, but I can also be a better mother and, just be able to help out through, whatever it is that she's going through. And also, me and my daughter, we started family therapy last week, which is gonna help us learn how to communicate better. Because what I found is that sometimes it's not what you say that they're not listening to, it's how you say it. So it's like your tone of voice, your body language, and different things like that. So that's something that I'm working on as a mom. It's just if it's something that I need her to know or something that, I need her to do, to just kind of watch my tone and how I say things because she shuts down when I'm fussing and when I'm yelling. So she's not listening because of my tone of voice. And so if I want to get my point across, I got to learn how to really just talk and more so listen than I talk. And like I said earlier in the chat, I'm learning how to listen to understand instead of listen to react. And what that simply means is that in the past, I listened to you, but I'm listening to find that one key thing that's gonna trigger me to either argue with you or either shut down completely from listening to whatever it is you got to say. So now I'm learning to listen to really just understand the other person's perspective and instead of offering like my perspective, so to speak, just kind of like understand like where they're coming from. Like, why do they feel the way that they feel? Why do they think the way that they think? And, you know, why certain situations happen the way that they happen. So that's just my little growth tidbit. I don't want to prolong, everything, but I just appreciate the opportunity again, just being able to have these talks because it is therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. Like Letha said, it's another form of therapy for me, just being able to express certain things and just kind of help those who may be, in a similar situation like mine, being a single mom and trying to balance it all. Just trying to balance it all, trying to navigate motherhood. So I
And I thank you. We thank you for being here because your insights have just been phenomenal. Um, it really has. Kwame, we thank him for being here. He's listening. I did notice earlier I had let them in, but I don't know who it was. It said Lee's iPhone and it went out, but I did try to let them in and it looked like they had came in, then it looked like they kind of went off. So if anybody know who Lee is, just let them know they're always welcome. You know who that is? Okay, Justin. So it was just, I promise I hit the admit button, but it looked like they was on for a hot second and it looked like it went away. But I think it's good that we do this because it takes discipline to be able to be here. I know Kristen is a busy woman. I know Justin is busy. Kwame is busy. Frederica is busy. I'm sort of busy. I may not be nowhere near busy as the rest of you all. Literally. And it's like that takes still another level of discipline to be able to still wrap your mind around it, regardless of the day that you have had, still to be able to be here. So I thank you all for that. I am thankful that Kristen is here. So I do love you. And like I said, it's crazy because, I don't know. I told my sister yesterday, I was like, I had to do something different. It's something. And I can't make excuses. I just got to make it happen. We all got stuff we got to work on, but this is not a space where we can say how we feel. We can give our opinions, and we know how to listen to one another, and that's a good thing. Kristen, I'm gonna get you to send me your address. Don't ask me why. Justin, I'll text you. Don't ask me why. I'm just asking both of y'all to do what I asked y'all to do. And Frederick, I need your address too, your mailing address. And I'm gonna text you, Justin. And we ain't gonna prolong it. I want these mailing addresses in no more than 24 hours, please.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is a good book. This is Justin's book. It's like, people can say what they want. This book could be this literally his writing. Is phenomenal. I'm not just saying it's like his writing is you got to have a thick brain, honey.
What's it called? Courageous Vulnerability.
Yeah, you're gonna get a copy, so don't worry about it. Just get somebody else to purchase one. Don't you buy one. It's on Amazon too. Just so you'll get a copy. And I'm gonna make sure you get one, and Frederica get one. That's why I need y'all mailing addresses. So we have silent people who've been pretty decent to me over the years. And Justin been getting my book for almost 2 years now. Oh, you had to cough on that one, but it's okay. See, Chrissy, you ain't the only one disorganized.
Well, wait a minute. I think it's hereditary.
It's got to be something. Because, golly. Oh, wait. But I need y'all to do that because me and him gonna have a lot of business in 24 hours too. So if y'all do that, it's all good in the hood. Anybody else? Now, who want to close out? Justin chose. It was Kristen.
It's gonna get me to close out, so I'm closing out tonight. Okay.
Yeah, you gonna close out.
Y'all ready?
We ready.
So all I have to say is good night after I close out.
That's all you gotta say.
Okay. Well, I'm praying for each and every one of you. If you believe in God, I encourage you to get to know God. Also, you all may think that don't think like this, but I am a professional, kind of working in mental health, dealing with families and children. I had to get counseling. Letha and I and our family has had to deal with so much loss. And when my cousin Tanya died, I couldn't take it anymore. And I had to get counseling to make it through that. It was hurtful, painful. I didn't understand it. And it helped me deal with the day-to-day, the still struggles that we were dealing with. With helping my mama, it was a lot being a single mother. So I've gotten counseling as well. Please, if y'all don't take anything else from this, let's deal with our traumas and let's grow together.
Amen.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
See y'all next time.